Ash took a weekend trip through time.
To the pit with him!
He was trapped,
Hey! Look out!
slapped,
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
and kidnapped. But they couldn't make him join
How do you stop it?
the Army of Darkness. From the director of Darkman comes Army of Darkness, rated R.
The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
You will suffer an eternity for this.
Yo, she-bitch. Let's go.
Kevin, I think it's time to get going. We're doing it a little bit different this time. We're doing Army of Darkness and throwing the intro first so we can get right on into the good, the bad, and the judgment of probably Kevin and I's one of our favorite Evil Dead entries. Kevin, what was your first experience with this bad boy?
Oh man. So I tried finding one of my first comic books from 92 because I remember first finding out about this movie, seeing the ad for it in the back of a comic book, and the cover art for the poster with that Harlequin, just that poster of him standing on the side of the car with Cheryl. No,
The wheel,
Sheila.
baby.
Sheila Sheila down by his knee. Instead of a sword, he's got a chainsaw for a hand. And I was like so goddamn intrigued by what was happening in this thing. I begged my dad to take me to the theater to go see it. And he's like, yeah. And he did, bless his heart. And I can't say he hated it. He probably did. I don't know. But golly, he regretted it because that was like the greatest thing I'd ever seen. And like as soon as it hit VHS, like I rented it all the fucking time. If it was ever on USA, I would sit and watch it all the fucking time.
Can't go wrong with
This was
that.
like my happy film. This might have been my very first happy film. Like where it's like
geez.
this and Ghostbusters, no matter how many times you watched it, you never got tired of it. You kept getting happier every time you saw it, kind of like Beetlejuice talking about The Exorcist. This was kind of that for me.
Man, that's actually a really good topic for a video sometime. And talking about like, what's your happy place films and what were some of your first ones? Like, probably have to say like Raiders, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Eventually this became, when this movie came out, this kind of took over for that because this was like 1992. And I remember seeing like the posters at the theaters like you were talking about. I actually trying to remember, I saw this in the theaters, but I don't remember if this is one of those that I quote unquote found myself in, or if one of my friends helped me get in to go see it. But I do remember this in the theaters. And I had no idea it was part of a franchise at that point. I mean, I had heard of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I had no idea this was actually the third one because it's just called Army of Darkness. And during the opening credit sequence, they actually say it's Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness. And so you don't really pick up like, hey, this is really coming from something else, because you get thrown right into an immediate recap like Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn does. And this does the same thing, but it kind of picks up in a disjointed way. Whereas how it ends in Dead by Dawn is not how it starts in this one, but it kind of does at the same time. But
Yeah.
I remember walking out of the theater thinking that was pretty damn dope. I had a blast. It was funny, it had action in it, and it also had some pretty good special effects at the time going on. It had little bit of everything. And I remember having like a total blast. And the second it hit VHS, I totally bought a copy, wore the hell out of that thing. I don't even have it because I know I snapped it more than 7 times. That tells you I probably watched this movie way more than I probably ever should have, but I'm not complaining, and I don't think anybody else would. But through the years, I just kind of picked up on that from like when I got to college and I watched this again, and then I finally went back and watched the other two, I was like, you know what? DVD, here I come. Start picking up DVDs, and I'm proud owner of basically the 4K from Scream Factory, but I have like almost every edition I've ever owned outside of the VHS tape. I have my original DVDs. I got, the original Anchor Bay, which is like the silver case, 2-disc case. So over on my shelf next to my
Ooh.
Kandarian dagger and everything. And of course, one of my favorite trinkets was getting Evil Ash, Todd McFarlane figure, early Todd McFarlane figure. Yeah, I know he's missing his sword. It's up there, but I got, and it comes with like the little movie poster. I was such a fan that this was literally one of the first McFarlane figures I ever bought, and then I got the Halloween one, and I got Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah, I know, Jason Goes to Hell, everybody.
No, but that was a dope fucking figure, though. My brother had that. Like, it was really good looking.
Let's try not to knock shit over on our live stream. Okay. Woohoo!
Meh.
From last week. This is the Evil Dead 2 cabin splinters that I got.
Oh, cool. Cursed artifact.
I found it after our live stream ended, and I'm like, God damn it. I finally found it. But, this was my
right here
gateway
the
into
whole
Evil
time.
Dead as a franchise, and I really like this movie, and rewatching it again, I almost had to pick which cut I was going to have to watch for this movie, because there's 4 of them, everybody. 4 cuts. We'll get to that point eventually in this review.
I thought there was 3. God damn it. I watched the theatrical.
Theatrical, international, director's cut, and television cut.
Yeah, I've got the theatrical cut. I've got the director's cut. I have on streaming the TV cut, and I have not seen the international. I don't believe. No,
International.
I may have to double check to see if I have that or not.
Yeah, that's the one where Dino went back and added more footage and was totally padding it for the European audiences. And it's got like
Oh, so it had,
takes, things like that. So
it had titties.
it had boobas.
Knowing Dino De Laurentiis, it added titties.
Yep, that's Dino's trademark. But Kevin, let's get into the good, the bad, and then let's judge this, because we're judging you and we're judging this film.
The good. Again, I wanted to keep this to the groovy, but golly, this is Ash perfection. Like, Ash versus Evil Dead is the greatest and the funniest there really was. But like, this is where he kicks the most ass. This was my first introduction to Ash. He was a superhero to me when I first saw this. Like, I'd never seen a hero so realistic before. This was my first introduction to the term anti-hero, and it was very easy to understand what the term meant. Like, you've got Superman, you've got Batman, Spider-Man, Ash. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be the good guy. He just kind of has to be. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what that fucking means. That's cool.
So reluctant.
Damn,
so reluctant. I just want to go back to my own time frame. I already went through this shit through 2 movies. Send me back.
Yeah, like this movie, you could learn and teach what Murphy's Law is, like, because everything that can go wrong does for Ash. Always. He's the unluckiest motherfucker on earth. Like, you feel Ash. There's a piece of Ash inside of all of us. He is more everyman than Peter Parker is, I think.
Yeah,
like
this was pretty iconic for a movie.
Mm-hmm. And it's pretty civil as far as the Evil Dead series goes. And again, we'll get to that later, but this is a really, and I hate to use the pun, universal Evil Dead movie. Like, my kids could watch this and it'd be okay.
You
I know,
just
I'm
had
sorry.
to make that joke, because this was major studio support, was this one, and you can see the production values on this are pretty outstanding. Like, the stop motion they used, like, clearly it's a step up from the previous 2, and just all around set design, production design, everything. There's more cast in this freaking movie than there were in the last two, even combined. So,
Yes. Yes, there was. Even in the final shot where the English and the Scots were kind of faced off together, that was more people that worked on Evil Dead 2 on set. So that was
Henry
kind
the
of cool to
Red.
see. Oh, God. He's been the voice of my summer. He really has been.
Evil
Kinda
Dead,
just
the
kinda,
video
fuck
game,
y'all.
everybody. Even though
You
I
know,
don't really play it
I
anymore because they nerfed everything.
they nerfed everything and it crashed 2 weeks ago, didn't it? They just, like, completely shut it the fuck down?
Yeah. I thought it was working
I
for a
don't
bit, but I tried to get in there the other day and it ain't working. So, don't know what the deal is, but
dang.
if it's down, it's down and it ain't coming back. All right, at least I enjoyed the game for what it was, but I always loved doing
I did
the
too.
Army of Darkness kind of scenes and maps. So,
Yeah, and the Army of Darkness Ash was the bull. He was the strong one. You know, he didn't
yes.
have all the couldn't see the magic things from a long way like Evil Dead 2 Ash could, but he had all the hit points. Like he was just the Brahma bull. I loved him. And he
Brahma
had
Bull.
the
I call
best
him more
one-liners.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, dude. If we're gonna talk
Yeah,
comparisons to wrestling,
kinda. He's much more of a shoot first. Yeah, yeah. Think
shoot
never.
first, think never, everybody. Which is a good
God, those
reference
chills
for
that he gets.
DJ out there. What did we think of the TV series? You might want to check our backlog. We've covered this before on our show, but we love the show.
Loved it. So yeah, the TV series. If you're just joining us recently, that was one of our first shows that we did,
It was the
and
first
we
show
put
we
our
did.
heart.
First two.
Yeah, yeah. We really got into nostalgia TV because of this series. Like we were so heartbroken when they canceled it that we were just kind of like, we love this show so much. It was going so well, and it got canceled for no fucking reason. And we put our heart and soul into this show so much so, even at our first show, Dana DiLorenzo heard it and asked if she could talk to us personally, and that meant a whole lot to us. So the Evil Dead franchise is our home. We truly love it.
Yeah, without the show, I don't think we would have gotten into doing this sort of thing.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had the confidence going, wow, we're really good at this kind of, I guess, maybe, sort of.
Yeah,
we
kind of,
might
sort of,
we
maybe.
might have something.
Although it's also one of our earlier videos and podcast episodes, so it's a little bit on the rough side. We will probably be getting back and doing a redux version on that. A little bit more polished.
I was still in the closet. I was in the closet still.
Are you living up to your nickname from our live stream on last Saturday night, Kevin? Mr. Glory Hole Kevin Smith?
Don't care if it's a fucking troll. In my head, it's Jessica Biel. Anyway.
Whatever.
You're gonna get that song stuck in my head again.
You are welcome. But this show, with this movie and the show, like there's enough tie-ins there, and like it took a little time for them to actually connect the TV show to this.
Yeah.
The one of the slight references was, I think I overslept one time before, because he did not do the Klaatu Verada necktie. And, so it kind of depends on which version of Army of Darkness you saw in the ending. But one ending, he sleeps into the future. One ending, he sleeps and he wakes up in timeline, but the Deadites follow him through because he didn't say the words correctly. And, between the show and the movie, nice tie-ins, but not as many as we would have liked. We still get a s-mart. We still get a little bit of this. We get a little bit of that. And power to them. They gave us a great show. They gave us a great movie. And
Sure.
when we get to the bad, there are some things about this movie that aren't quite up to snuff. But as far as I'm concerned, when you have even Danny Elfman doing music on this, after working with Sam on Darkman, because that's part of the whole tagline with Army of Darkness from the trailer we played leading into this, is they're diving more deep into the director of Darkman instead of from Evil Dead 1 and 2 is the return of Evil Dead. They're clearly trying to steer away from Evil Dead as a name and trying to move their franchise in a little bit of a more mainstream appeal. And while they kept away from being too mainstream, they did tend to get away a little bit away from like the really horrific elements. Um, but what they made up for, they did in spades with action, with comedy, and just overall Bruce just owning this role. Without Bruce, there is no franchise, there is no Army of Darkness. He is such a presence. He's in great shape, and he just
Oh God.
commands the whole movie. And it's just stellar. And you got a young Bridget Fonda in here as well.
Yeah, who I barely even remember being Linda at all until I
They've
go
changed
on
Linda
IMDb and
how
watch.
many times
Oh
now?
yeah.
Every damn movie.
Yeah, 3 Lindas, 3.5 because there's Linda B now,
Oh yeah,
right? Is that Linda in the TV series or season 3?
3.
3, yeah.
Yep.
See, I know
That's when they
stuff.
bring her back.
I don't retain it.
They
I
also
liked
bring
her.
back the sister in
Anyway.
season 3 too. But it at least in Army of Darkness, we're not talking about like any family members. We're not talking like too much of a carry through from the previous movies. It's just Bruce and the Deadites, the Necronomicon. We don't even get the Kandarian dagger here. So it's more of a focus on Bruce being, or I keep saying Bruce, but Ash being sent to the 1300s as prophesied in the Necronomicon.
Yes, which I almost used as my background. I don't know what the hell happened to the picture, but I liked the one I chose anyway.
Yeah, there's a
It
lot
is
of
worth noting.
fantastic fan art with this movie.
Yeah, it is worth noting Bruce is without the Necronomicon in this movie. He has to go find it. So, and then you're
One
thinking to
of
yourself,
3.
yeah, which is not mentioned at all in the first 2 movies.
No.
And then you're kind of like, oh wow, so whatever happens to the Necronomicon in this is eventually what it is, probably what ends up happening to it until Professor Nobi finds it later on.
Yeah,
Probably.
because they do find it in this castle or the ruins of it, but it doesn't look anything like the castle from Dead by Dawn, which is
No.
fine. I don't really have a problem with the consistencies at this point because at this point nothing really matters other than just Ash Williams, Necronomicon, Deadites. You got those 3, you at least got 3 out of 4 for everybody.
The checklist is set. That's fine.
The batting average is over 500. So, but God, I love the prosthetics on this. I love like when Bruce is doing the different
Yes.
faces when he's going for the Necronomicon in the warped one. He shakes his head. It's fantastic. I just love that. You got any
He
favorite?
shakes his head. Yeah, where they pull the camera down into that Necronomicon, and they've got the cyclone, the tunnel, but they've got the whirling I was going to say vortex, like a Foley sound that makes it sound like it's a vortex, and they really perfect little camera styles or little camera angles like that, and mixing with Foley editing, and it comes out so perfect. Like the special effects, like you said, it was little charming things like that, or they would use old Ray Harryhausen effects that you're just like, God, it looks cheap, but it's so authentically cool.
Yeah, it
Not
very much
cheap,
is.
like just not realistic.
Well, yeah, and like
The blue screen.
imagine like modern day CGI with like Army of Darkness in general, and I'd be like screaming like, please don't do that. Just give me the stop motion that they're doing.
Yes, yes. And I really enjoy those kind of special effects. I always have.
Yeah.
They're probably my favorite. I don't care how cheesy they are, even if it's dinosaurs.
Oh my god, dinosaurs in this movie? I would totally not do that.
No. I just meant like the stop motion dinosaur movies and stuff like that. Say like King Dinosaur would be. No, King Dinosaur was a lizard, wasn't it? Anyway.
All right, Kevin, what's your favorite cut of this movie? I'm just going to ask you.
Oh, golly.
Or favorite ending. Because that usually trips many people up with, hey, which version of this movie do you like?
Okay, so I'm going to reflect just a little bit. I think I was in college before I found out, or no, it was later because it was like YouTube wasn't around when we were in college.
That was 2004-ish.
Yeah, so I was quite older then. Golly, gee whiz, that fucking hurts to say. When I found out, I must have found out when the DVD was released then. Holy shit. So it was sometime earlier in 2003, 2004 when they released the director's cut. It was a limited edition and I got really excited. I bought it. It came out before the theatrical cut did, I think, or at least for me. I bought that before the theatrical cut and had it for years before the theatrical cut. And I didn't like the ending. I didn't really care for it. I liked Ash blasting away that witch at the end. I liked him getting the girl. I liked him having that one last one-liner. And like, you know, he was the king. Yeah, you know, hail to the king, baby. That was my favorite. Like, that was just balls out Ash, the coolest shit I'd ever seen. But I understand and respect the Rip Van Winkle ending too. So it's the older I get,
Sam's
more
preferred
I'm
ending.
kind of like, yeah, like that is Sam. I get it. I totally get that, and I get that's where he would want to take Ash. But just as far as storytelling goes and action and fun, I like the theatrical cut. I think Universal made the right decision on that.
Yeah, with the theatrical cut, I at least will give them the points. Like they kept it tight, they kept it moving fast, but it also felt like things were missing quite often with that. And with the director's cut, like even though it's about 10 minutes longer ish, because the movie theatrical version runs at about 81 minutes. Like you're in, you're out of it. It's about the length of what an animated movie was back then. Like you're in and out of that theater. You could keep running the damn movie over and over again. But, you know, I feel like there's a sweet spot in between, but nobody's made a fan cut of this film to where you can get like the best of both worlds. Like I do prefer the theatrical ending, but I also really much enjoy the director's cut ending with the Rip Van Winkle because they do try and replicate that in the TV show at the very end of that, where he wakes up in the future and the whole idea is to have Deadites versus cyborgs versus humans. So it's this weird conglomeration of like ideas of where they were heading. I don't know if we'll ever quite get that, depending on the rumored animated series that seems to be on and off again. Who knows what's going on with that? But we're getting two brand new movie sequels to Evil Dead Rise. Loose sequels. They're going to be different stories, but set in the same kind of world and universe. So kind of depends where we're going as a direction. But when you're talking about Army of Darkness specifically, I prefer the theatrical ending. I tend to prefer the director's cut as an overall movie, though. But I'd like the I like the s-mart ending better on that. And if it could be, I could probably make that myself. But I'm not gonna. I kind of like watching the different versions. It kind of depends on what you're up for, but you know, there is something to be said about the director's cut playing a little long. Like it does drag a little bit. And even Sam and Bruce have both said like we are leaning towards the director's cut, but we do acknowledge like this one does have some issues that, you know, it drags the movie down a little bit. So it's just the way it goes. And I wanted to watch the TV cut before we were doing the review tonight, but I never got around to it. So because that I guess has a lot more filler scenes than than any other cut.
Really?
Yep.
Well, let's put that on the schedule for next year. Then we'll have to revisit this again.
Yeah, if we get a few more likes and a couple comments, hey, I'll add it to the rotation, or we'll do it as a members only.
Do it.
We
Members
could do it
only.
as a members only review.
There's a
So if you're a
titty on
member
it.
of our
Oh, wait,
channel,
not
you
the
can
TV
actually check
version.
that out. We'll
Damn
do
it.
each damn cut and we'll break it down, baby. I know you could go online and you could search it out and have like Screen Rant or somebody break down the subtle differences, but you actually want some opinions and a talking head video like we're doing? Hey, we can do that.
And if you really want like opinions and shit like that that aren't Screen Rants, because believe me, I've seen their fucking love for the Acolyte and She-Hulk. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
they come off really reputable until they're like, y'all ruined the Acolyte, white people.
Yeah.
Because of
Racist
Canada's
bigots.
not the most white motherfucker. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that being said, got anything else you like about this movie, Kevin?
Yeah, everything, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
Gosh, where do you start? Like, there's,
And then
you
where do
could
you
talk
end?
about the movie itself. You could talk about the experiences you've had watching this movie. Like, how many times did you have a sleepover and rent this movie and have pizza? How many times did you do that very same thing and invite new people and set them up to fucking watch this movie for the first time?
It's
Like,
the perfect hangout
many
movie,
times?
everybody. Like I could probably
Yeah.
get my wife to watch this one. I told her there is not that much horror in this movie. It's not that bloody, notwithstanding a couple scenes, but like it's all like inferred and implicated.
Put that on the screen.
What, the Acolyte one? I don't know if it came, but it was definitely pre-ruined.
Thank you. I didn't have to say it.
Hey, I don't care. We're just hanging out with everybody. I don't care.
That's why my wife calls Jeff my other wife. He knows me.
Yes, I do.
Anyway, he does.
I'll let you smoke on our streams. Well, if anybody's
Did I?
got some
Oh, yes,
fun
I did.
thoughts about
This is
good
watermelon,
things about this movie,
dude. This
put them in
shit-
the chat. What's that? And for everybody, we're on there's a little delay with Kevin's internet in his new place. They're having a storm right now. So if there's a little weirdness going on with Kev's stream, that's what's up.
Oh, it's my internet. How do we know that it's not your internet, Mr. Dryweather? You know that affects things too. Static interference. No, nothing.
It's not me, it's you. It's always
All
you.
right, I'm sorry. It is.
You know when it's me. I'm not even on camera when those are happening. What, you want me to go back to my dad's house where I'm on dial-up like for 2 weeks?
Yeah, but that made me feel better about myself.
Well, you can go back to feeling shitty about yourself.
Thank you.
Now, did you like the plot of Army of Darkness, Kevin? Like as a whole, or do you think you would have
I
liked it a
do.
little bit more in line with the previous two movies?
No, because again, I saw this and enjoyed it for a good 2 or 3 years at least before seeing Evil Dead 2. So like this was a complete movie for me for like from like 12 to 14 or 12 to 15. Whenever Brooke made fun of me, you're like, "Dude, you stupid." I love her. But yeah, like this was a good solid flick for me without that for that many years, and it still is. I could watch it. It was on in the background today. I had it on in the background yesterday, and I was just as happy either which way. And it's like my wife will not sit and enjoy this, but she enjoys watching me watch it, I guess. Because I become a giant 12-year-old watching it. Like, watch, he's gonna say the thing.
He's gonna say the thing. He's gonna say the thing. Come give me some sugar, baby.
No, he said it. Yeah, the thing is like 48 lines that Bruce Campbell has in this movie. It could be any fucking thing that he says, and you're like, he said the thing.
He said the thing.
This movie was just like an anthem for me. It really was. I don't know why. I loved his sarcasm. Uh, uh, I loved his wit. He was just fucking funny. I love the style of this movie. The humor goes directly to our funny bone. It really does. Like we are the demographic of this picture. I appreciate the little fine things, like when he puts the camera on the arrow when the guy's trying to escape the pit at the beginning and Arthur calls for his crossbow and
Yep.
he shoots the guy.
Oh my God.
Perfect. And it's classic Sam Raimi. And I love little things like that. There's so much packed into this 81-minute film that you can talk about it for longer than 81 minutes because there's so much to enjoy, so much to love. Every little scene has its moments, whether it being Sheila walking in and the boring scene of Sheila walking in, and he says, first you want to kiss, or first you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me. Blow. That scene took way too long and it slowed the film down, but it's still enjoyable as fuck. And you can still talk about all the great things about that scene, for a good 5-10 minutes if you really wanted to.
Well, there's good nuance to that. Like there is an actual chemistry between the two. And although it's the only thing I found like a little disjointed with that was the introduction of her, and she's automatically assuming like he's the guy who killed her brother, yet she's not doing anything to any of the other Henry the Red guys. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I mean, I totally forgive this because 5 minutes later we're gonna get some like Three Stooges sound effects going on. And it's like, you know what? You cannot take this movie too terribly seriously. And you learn that from Dead by Dawn. Like, yes, there's a seriousness to it, but it doesn't dwell in it. It kind of just uses it as an accentuating aroma, kind of like putting the clone on to be pretty for Universal Studios, but also still retain its identity. And Kevin, I can smell you all the way down here in Arizona, buddy.
Thank you.
But we got a good couple comments here. When I get to those, I'm going to go ahead and get to the bad Ash, the good Ash scene is just so goddamn funny. Goody little two shoes.
Goody little tissue. Goody little tissue.
Now to Daxonar's point, that is one of those sequences that is differently cut between the different cuts of the movie. And like either it's extended or it's really extended or it's as brief as it is in the theatrical cut. Each cut, that whole sequence is extended out. And there's also different dialogue in some of those scenes too.
Well, fuck. I was going to go to bed after this.
Nope. Not allowed, Kevin.
Know what I'm doing now.
Because what I like is like good, bad, I'm the one with the gun, but then there's some other different dialogues. Now I don't have like the detailed breakdown on the different dialogue, but there is different dialogue and different alternate takes. So it plays differently.
Sure. But I loved that scene as a kid. I loved it as an adult, but this movie kind of shows or like solidifies that notion as a kid that might makes right. Like Bruce or Ash is smarter than these people because he has a one up on them, whether it be at the shotgun or the knowledge of chemistry or fighting, a variety of things. Might makes right in this movie. And he's a big dick about it too. And it's hysterical. He's a big brother, really, is what it is. He truly is. Like, just Cheryl's not in this movie.
Well, to Genghis Khan's point, like, and all the necessities he had in his trunk, the science books, etc. And now I remember the Fangoria that's in the back of the trunk too. Like, he's got like 2 cans of gasoline. He's got like a whole smorgasbord of things in the trunk. And I'm like, if there was ever a time to have something that the TV show could have used, it would have been like a bottle of pink fuck.
The bottle of pink fuck.
I'm just saying. Oh, and Genghis, the alternate ending. I see you are asking about where he takes too many drops. We did briefly talk about that and which ending we preferred. That's the Rip Van Winkle ending, and I like that ending. Ultimately, I know Sam was a big fan of that one, and so was Bruce. I like it. I tend to prefer the theatrical ending where he ends up back in his own time. He just brought the Deadites back with him.
Yeah, like that just kind of brings it full circle. Like, I don't know. Well, I mean, it also makes the movie irrelevant in the same sense that Raiders of the Lost Ark was irrelevant. Like the Nazis would have lost one way or the other.
Yeah.
The Deadites were going to get back out one way or the other, whether Ash survived the past or not, but he's going to save everything one way or the other. And we do see that he does in Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah. And at least with Ash versus Evil Dead, they tried to bring back that ending again because of how you think he's dead at the end of the show, and he ends up getting revitalized from his cybernetic or cryogenic coffin, and he's awakened in the future, like 400 years.
Oh. And I didn't like it then either. So let me say this for the last time. Tappert!
Tappert. he just wanted to have like some Skynet versus the Evil Dead sort of thing.
Why? It's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. You go from a dope horror film to a swords and sandals film to Terminator, like anime, like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see the connection. Like there is a connection between horror and swords and sandals. There is.
Oh yeah, there actually is. Conan, Sword and the Sorcerer. We can go down a list there. But in Daxnar, I love dickish main characters when they still make them likable. Very much in line with Dead by Dawn. And in the show. Because even like King Arthur in this one. Because it's pretty obvious, when they call him Arthur, it's like, oh, this is King Arthur. That's kind of funny. A nice little spin on it. Not so regal with Knights of the Round Table, but still.
But Fox owns King Arthur, so you can't say that.
But they can just call him Arthur. We never said King Arthur. I think everybody just expects it to be King Arthur. But we never said it.
Right? He was Lord of the Castle. And we don't even know there was a full castle. It could have just been a small manor or fort.
Right.
We don't know.
But Kevin, we could be talking about the good all night long, and as much as I would like that, we do have to talk about the bad.
Oh, fine. I'll put it up there.
That is not a bad prosthetic and makeup work. I am saying that right now. None of the effects in this movie are terrible in the slightest.
No, let me clarify what I mean when I use the bad and this guy as an example. So originally, to my knowledge, what Ash was supposed to be pushed down into the pit and facing was supposed to be the evil that had been chasing him in Evil Dead 2. So the monster that you'd been waiting to see since 86 turns out to be this little fucking thing.
Like
and the reason why it was
trash.
Yeah, like the reason why it was this little muppety looking fucking thing was because so I'm like, it's not that he's bad, he's just not what could have been. It was supposed to have been that big fucking thing that, he was fighting at the end of Evil Dead 2.
So, La Magra.
Kind of, yes, which again we still never really see. Like it's always clouds and fog at this point. Like they show it and it's just clouds and fog.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't it show Kelly trying to shoot it at some point? Like in
I believe so.
Episode 2.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, so there was a lot of what could have been that Universal took away. That's the bad for this picture. The blood is a lot of what could have been that they
Yeah.
took away. They took away all the gore, and
All
used
of
it
it.
up in that one scene in the pit at the beginning,
Which was
they're like,
freaking
shoot
awesome.
it.
Don't stop. They didn't even drown Ash or Bruce in a vat of blood or anything. What they did was they just dunked them in this, like, it's like throwing the apples at the tank. Can you get the guy in the tank? But no, he just gets hit in the head with a rock and then shoved, and he does a double flip to do a gainer into the pit.
I just love that they shoot blood like 80 feet in the fucking air.
It's fantastic, dude.
And in 4K, it's bright red. There is no blood, nothing that looks red in the rest of this movie. Like maybe his cuts on his face at best. But they made damn sure that this was bright red blood shooting out of the pit. And it's so fucking excessive from one person, 4 liters of blood.
And then he severs the
It's
hand of
amazingly
it
fun.
that strikes an onlooker on the mouth, and that makes the blacksmith break out in laughter.
Oh, it was funny though. So goddamn
So many
funny.
good moments. Yeah, for me, when it
But
comes
we're
to
not
like the
talking
bad
about any
about
of
this, it's definitely we're missing the gore, and the movie just does not have a mean streak like the last two do. It just doesn't. Like,
No.
Sheila gets turned. Yeah, I mean, she gets raped, but that's about
She
as
gets turned
mean
back, though.
spirited
That's the
as this
thing.
movie gets.
Well, she gets turned back. That's the thing. It's not like in part 2 where Annie wins. She beats the darkness, but
That's
it
something
kills
that
her.
bothers me with this movie, though. Like, when
Yeah.
you break it down, he stabs her. She jumps at him. He gets him. Ash gets her with the spear, flips her over the wall. She lands on the ground. Bitch, she dead.
Maybe she only grabbed it.
Or maybe maybe it should have been more clear. Like, if he only hit her like with the blunt end and not the sharp end of the spear, that might have helped. But when she was running into him, it looked like the spear end was going right towards her, and she was charging him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that checks with the rest of the franchise. Like, every girl he gets interested in, they end up dead.
Pretty much, yes. Or written off somehow. Linda B.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, gore and lack of a mean streak are kind of where I'm like, yeah, that's what's missing out of this movie, but it doesn't hurt the enjoyment of the movie. It's just like, I would have liked more of this. I would have liked more of that. I would have liked more gore, god damn it. You had great prosthetics, great skeletons, great set design in general. Like, y'all did fantastic, and he gave us a goddamn battle car. That's the best
thought the
use of
skeletons
the
were
Oldsmobile
amazing.
in the whole fucking franchise.
Pretty much, yeah.
Steam powered, baby.
Oh yeah. That just totally derailed me and 0 pointed me. Thank you for that.
Okay, that's the name of our show, 0 Point Reviews.
It's true. I forgot what I was gonna say. Golly, what else was kind of missing from this picture? The fact that he just lost his girlfriend the day before, and he's already sleeping with.
And he's already banging like the next one. Yeah, he's totally got the machismo going. Like, yeah, I lost my last girlfriend yesterday. Almost had another one last night, but you know what? Today is your day, baby.
That's
And
right.
it totally
It's all
plays
about
into the
you.
TV show too. So
Yes. Oh yes, God yes, totally Ash. Like living in the day, you'll do whatever.
You want to know how I lost his hand, honey? And they're in the back of the bar within 5 minutes of the pilot episode. Then she turns into the evil spirit while he's banging her. It's so fucking funny. Now I
And
want
he
to watch the show
still
again.
finishes.
John, yes, the Army of Darkness still holds up very well.
I
That
love
would
this
be,
movie.
I
Like,
would say, like, that could be something bad about this movie, that it doesn't hold up, but that is totally not true. That is actually an excellent point about
no,
this movie, is it still holds up well.
no, and it's fun. It's absurd, but it's traditional. Eh, it's that mixture of absurdity with traditional science or fantasy that makes it a lot of fun. Yeah, you get little people in fantasy movies and stuff like that, and they're usually like literally little people. But in this, they're like, Lilliputans or whatever the fucking called from Gulliver's Travels. Like those guys were so crazy out there, but it felt right for this universe. It was fun. Silly, very cartoonish, but fun. They were more cartoonish for the Evil Dead franchise, I think, in general, until you get to say like Ash vs. Evil Dead. When you see like all the dolls and stuff like that in the pilot,
Yeah.
then you're kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, this feels more familiar because it felt like these little guys, the shards of the mirrors. I don't know what
Yeah.
they're called. Lilliputans. That's what I'm going to call them.
Okay. Okay.
L-
Well,
Lynn's
I'm
probably going,
looking up
that's not
the
what they're
box
called.
office right now, and it was made on 11
Oh,
point. Wait, where the hell did I just see that? God damn it! It had a production budget of around $11 million, and it grossed about 21.5 million at the domestic box office. So it wasn't a total major hit.
you're
This
welcome.
clearly had the biggest budget of all the movies so far. Well, until the newer ones, anyway.
Yeah, then they got the CG and stuff like that. And they're like, we've got money to spend. Yay. Put some
I'd almost
blood on
want to
it.
say I'd put the marketing on the hook for why the movie didn't do that great at the box office. Like I said, if you want to go back to the beginning of our stream and watch that commercial, those were the commercials that were on air. And while that might have
I don't
appeased
remember that at
quite a
all.
few of us, what's that?
I don't remember that trailer at all.
Hmm.
Like not from like watching In Living Color, The Simpsons, any of the Fox shows. I don't remember that trailer being played.
Well, yeah, and like it's got that whole like skull in the Army of Darkness, and it's like, yeah, you're not even trying to get to the fans of the franchise. You're just trying to find a
No.
new audience in general.
Yeah, like it was really trying to be extreme. And I know
So
it was 90
extreme, let's go.
kind of, I know it was 92, but tone it down a bit. It's not 94 yet.
Yeah, like X Games
Like
wasn't a thing yet.
not quite yet. This is Ash. Like the music was wrong for the movie in the trailer. It was tonally completely wrong,
Right.
like in general. But the movie itself is totally wrong from the franchise. So I mean that's fine, I
Yeah.
guess.
I mean, they were trying to do something new, and it didn't quite work out, but the movie did. It was a success at the box office. It just wasn't probably as big as Universal would have liked. Serenity also says hello to Firefly fans. Firefly flan Firefly fans. Browncoats. They say hello as well because they did the same damn thing at Universal Studios where they just didn't deliver on the marketing for that movie, and that's why it didn't do so well at the box office. That's just my
Universal
opinion.
sucks buttocks.
But if we're going to talk about the bad, the only other thing I could bring up is the fact that there's 4 different cuts, and when some people hear, oh, there's more than one version of this movie, there's 2. Cool. No, not 2. There's 4. Wait, what? There's 4 different versions. It's like telling somebody to watch Blade Runner, and they're like, well, which version do I watch? There is no definitive
Well,
version for people other than maybe the director's cut, but then you get that alternate ending.
I mean, shouldn't it be best for any film you watch to start with the theatrical cut? Like
I would
this
start
is
there.
what everyone saw. This is what everyone saw as a base.
Yeah.
Like you're starting with a fresh start, what everyone else started with, and then from there you could see the director's cut, see his vision or their vision of the picture. That's great. Or the theater or the television version. See how many different fucking covers they had to do for Halloween. You know, I don't know,
Yep.
but always start with that base of what everyone else saw, the theatrical cut. It may not be the best, but that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
that's
my
what I would
soapbox.
encourage to do with most movies. I mean, if it's like clearly night and day, like I hated that movie, but I saw the director's cut, and the director's cut was a completely different movie. That's one thing. It's it's still the same movie at the core. It's just you get a little excessive in certain scenes, not so excessive in others. And then you just get a different ending. So, and sometimes you get boobas.
Boobas. JLA was slightly less shitty.
All right, Kevin.
When they
Before we
showed me
head on,
Dark Side, I was like, fuck it.
all right. Well, considering Dark Side is making an appearance, we do have a little sponsor to play before we get to the judgment. Kevin, are you ready to get judged?
Judge
After a
me.
long day of kicking dead-eyed ass, I like to crack open a Shimps. It's clean, crisp, refreshing, and cheap. Really cheap. Shimps won't slow you down. Not this guy, anyway. Fewer calories, less filling. Who gives a shit? It's beer.
Thank you for not sponsoring Shem's beer. We love you anyway.
Who gives a shit? It's beer.
We're adding that promo into our ad rotation.
Oh God, that's fantastic.
I thought that'd be appropriate.
As I drink
Man,
tea
now I
and
want to go
lemonade.
get that goddamn chainsaw that just came out, though.
I was kind of whining about that to my wife today. I was like, "Oh, I really want that, but $130 is really expensive for
Yeah.
Christmas." But I'm already asking for $200 earbuds. She's like, "You already have $300 earbuds. What do you want those for?" I'm like, "Those are for the PlayStation. One, so I could have 3D surround sound with my PSVR 2 since someone broke those earbuds." Wife. Yeah. And then she's like, "You could just solder them back together, can't you?" Even if I had a soldering iron, like, no.
I got the stuff down here, but like,
No, this is basically so like I could listen to the PlayStation, whatever is on it, and tune the kids and the wife out. All their shit.
total
I
noise
could have the
cancellation.
TV turned down. Yeah, I could just listen to like the hockey game, us, fucking a video game, what the fuck ever. I'm like, that's worth $200 to me. Yes, it is.
Well, that's
Anyway.
cool. I don't mind that. I'm not judging you, but you know there is something we can judge, Kevin.
This picture. Let's judge it. So I probably should have put this up a long time ago. But I didn't want to spoil the judgment. So my initial question for the judgment was, what version do you like better? So we've established that we both like the theatrical cut of this movie. This picture to me like perfected Swords and Sandals movies, the similar way that like Beastmaster did, or
just don't say Beastmaster 2 or I swear to God I'm gonna fire you right now.
Was it because I was about to say Deathstalker 2?
I'll allow that.
They're both Wynerski pictures.
Yes, they are.
Anyway, but no, I love that genre. I know you do too, and this was a lot of fun. God damn, I don't like seeing Ash lose. he's my hero. So I can't like the director's cut. I just can't.
That makes sense. Now, what would you score the theatrical then out of 10 chainsaws?
Oh gosh, you know what? This is a perfect movie for me. The Evil Dead 2 and 3 are perfect 10s for me. I can't say anything bad about them. I know people are like, well, there's no titties in this movie. Yes, there is. Watch the director's cut. So,
So if there's a good reason to watch the director's cut, there's 2 of them at least.
yeah, Sheila. Anyway.
Oh, Sheila.
I'm good, Sheila. I'm bad, Sheila. Anyway.
Oh my god.
That was misogynistic, and I apologize.
That may have just earned us a few more subs, dude. Anyway.
My wife's never going to see this. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, my wife don't watch us anyway, so she's not into horror. So when it comes to horror movies, it's like that's fine. But honestly, this is a good entry point for a lot of people into this franchise because you can at least get them into this movie, and if this is the only movie they ever like, you can at least get them into the TV show, maybe.
Yeah.
But this movie stands well on its own. You don't need the whole backstory to watch this movie. They recap enough at the beginning. And depending on which cut you get an opening narration from Ash about what's happened up to this point. In other cuts, that's not there at all. But, for me, I love this movie. It got me into Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2 is my champion of justice as far as these movies go. Like, that's pitch perfect, flawless all the way through, regardless of its of like the one issue that we were talking about last week. But other than that
spot up in the ceiling.
Yep, the spot in the ceiling. God damn. But no, this is such a fun movie. I enjoyed this in the theaters. I've enjoyed it for a long, long time. And I haven't watched this actually in like a couple of years. And watching this again, I'm like, you know what? I think this is what I'm going to be doing the next few nights when we're not doing stuff. I'm going to be going through the other cuts, and I kind of want to see the TV one. I don't remember seeing it on TV.
No.
But if I'm going to give this a score, I'm probably going to give this about like a 9. It's nearly flawless. I do wish it had more horror in this, a little more gore. That is something that is an identity of this franchise, and all of the movies and TV shows and everything so far has always been gory and bloody. And this is relatively tame by comparison, but I love this version of Ash Williams the most. It's so enjoyable, and Bruce just fits it like a goddamn glove. He's always loved this character. I would kill for an Evil Dead 4 if we could get one, but for me, I'm going to give this 9 out of 10 because it is damn near perfect. Just wish it had a little bit more on the horror side, because if you're going to put a Fangoria magazine in the back of your trunk, I want to see some dismemberments, buddy. I want to see some impalements. I want to see some nasty shit, dude.
Was it the Jason Unmasked episode or issue? I can't remember.
I
want to say
couldn't tell.
maybe it is, because that's why I remember that issue so fucking vividly.
I know we could easily
Like, oh,
look it
yeah.
up on IMDb or whatever for little known facts of like, hey, which Fangoria magazine was in the back of the trunk, which I think my co-host is now currently doing.
I'm Googling that bitch.
Do 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 do. Could also play the Shemps commercial one more time because Kevin, I don't give a shit.
After a long day of kicking dead-eyed ass, I like to crack open a Shemps. It's clean, crisp, refreshing, and cheap. Really cheap. Shemps won't slow you down. Not this guy, anyway. Fewer calories, less filling. Who gives a shit? It's beer.
Ooh, Shemps. Any fantastic, riveting follow-ups, Kevin?
I think it was Big Ben.
Oh,
It Yeah, it looks like Big Ben. I don't know why. It's not showing me exactly, but the image or the only issue that comes up that's not the picture of the deadite that flies is
Yeah.
Big Ben from House.
Oh, okay.
I think. I
Well,
think.
that kind
Let
of
me-
would make sense.
Son
Now,
of a gun, let me get out
I
of
would
here.
totally believe that Ash Williams loved that movie too. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. You know, calling him
Man, I used
Mr.
to love
Williams.
that magazine.
Do they still print or are they just
They are
E magazine now?
No, they do 6 issues in a year, so they're like every other month, but they're very much like a trade paperback. They're almost like a book at this point. And I was doing
Oh,
a subscription to them, but then they got a bit nutty and a little wokey, so I kind of backed off on that. But it sounds like it's better now, so
gay horror porn. That sounds like Magic the Gathering these days.
that's true. Kevin, got any final thoughts before we say goodnight to everybody?
I want to watch this movie again. I'm gonna go play the video game probably as soon as we get off here. This is a fun revisit. There's no wrong reason to revisit the Evil Dead franchise. Army of Darkness is probably the big one that I've been waiting for us to do for a good long time. I could talk about it all day and night. I'm most excited when I talk about flicks like this. It's like it's stuff that makes me happy. It was the happiest part from my childhood. It's still happiest from my adulthood. I could share it with my kids. I share it with my best friends. I share it with our listeners. It's just good, fun shit.
And this is that Harsh Realms game with Halloween
Oh,
and
did you
Ash
get
versus
that?
Evil Dead. So
Is that
I'm gonna hope
available
to
to
play that soon.
download?
I have to finish Wolfenstein 2 though.
Fuck that. I'm in this bitch. I'm going right now. My wife's gonna get mad at me.
You can get it digitally.
You
without
already
having to
bought
do
a
that.
video game.
Well, that's available
fine.
digitally. You can get that. It's not that bad of a price.
She got mad because I went to the store the other day and I got I was walking past the Switch games, and I don't play a whole lot of Nintendo. If I go walking through Nintendo, I'm looking for the kids. But I saw the Nintendo World Championship tournament
Oh yeah, that's
NES
right.
edition, and this was with it. It's a NES cartridge, gold plated like Zelda, but it has the logo on it there instead.
Yeah.
And it's on a pretty little plastic pedestal. And it was like $39.
That's really cool though.
And this was the collector's edition. And I'm being nagged at for buying a collector's edition game. Well, what did we really buy? Because she was wanting to know what the swag was. Like, can't you just ask what is the swag or what comes with it? You don't have to fucking put some negative fucking connotation on it. And I'm also trying to point out, like, Switch games are like $60, $50-$60. This was $40. I bought a collector's edition game for less than a regular edition game. Like, shut the fuck up is basically what I'm really trying to say. There's so much neat shit with it. There's some amazing, pretty little collector's pins in there. Anyway, I've lost my point, but the point I think was supposed to be is I shouldn't go spend the money, but I'm gonna. At least I could tell her there's no.
I'm not gonna tell her.
No. The kids are gonna wake up going, there's some really crazy shit on the TV.
Well, if anybody does a super chat, we'll put it towards Kevin's little video game fund.
My fund, my habit.
We're gonna start a fund for Kevin again.
Hey, man, I hadn't been in the house for 24 hours yet, and I'd already unpacked Betty. I have a fucking issue.
Kevin's into the VR games, everybody. So if you're curious about some of the VR games on PS5, he is your guy you want to talk to about that.
Yeah, man, I've been living inside of Resident Evil 4 for the last 2 weeks. I love it.
Nice. Well, Kevin, I think we should let everybody go for the night. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you liked our video and our review, please hit that little like button down below. You got any comments about anything we didn't talk about in here that you think we should have? Put them down below. Got any favorite memories, favorite lines, favorite scenes? Let's hear about it down below. And when you subscribe to our channel down below, be sure you hit that little bell notification so you can stay tuned to all of our video content. And as Kevin is saying, we need to hit the button and get on out of here. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you next time.
Ash took a weekend trip through time.
To the pit with him!
He was trapped,
Look out!
slapped,
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
and kidnapped. But they couldn't make him join
How do you stop it?
the Army of Darkness. From the director of Darkman comes Army of Darkness, rated R.